Welcome back to Disclaimer, episode 7. Today's episode is about love and becoming a father. So, if you need more love, if you want to give more love, or if you think the world needs more love, this episode's for you. Help me welcome my guest. He's a high school friend, a father of one, about to be a father of two. Fun fact, he's younger than me. Welcome, Nick Baldwin. So they tend to say you don't fully understand love until you have a child. What's something about love that you never understood until you became a dad?
I think one thing is like how deeply you can care about another person, right? So I feel like there's like not levels to love, but there's different kind of loves that you can like experience, where it be like interpersonal love between you and a friend, you and a partner, or you and your kid. And the first time, because my wife had a C-section, but like the first time you just get to hold them, they open their eyes. It's really a kind of it's life changing in a way because you get to see like a little person, right? It's an awesome experience. It really is. I love it. And there's just like an overwhelming feeling that you get the moment they like look at you and open their eyes. That I don't know. There's nothing really like it.
Is it is it a type of experience that you could compare to anything else in your life?
No, really, not really. No, absolutely not. There's definitely nothing that like really compares to like have like there's just not. I don't know. Like maybe if like you were able to create something that you were super proud of, but even that I feel like pales in comparison.
That's kind of interesting. That makes me kind of my mind go in two different directions. But I want to ask you this, since we're kind of at the beginning. Did you always want to become a dad?
No, honestly, when I was younger, I was always like, nope, I'm gonna turn 18. I'm gonna get a vasectomy. It's not happening for me. Like we're not doing all that.
So what was the switch?
Honestly, I just met the right person, and I feel like that's like how it is for a lot of people. Because I do have a couple of friends where they're like, I'm never having kids, and then they're like, and then as they get like further in their relationship with their partner, they're just like, you know what? Like I could have a kid with this person. And it's like I think I watched a podcast. I think I watched a video or a podcast recently. I was trying to think who was it. Mm, someone said it better than me. I can't put my thumb on it, but it's just like something you don't even like think about, right? Like you meet the right person, and you're just like, oh yeah, I could definitely have kids with this person. There's like a level of I don't maybe like love that you have with your partner where you're just like, I want to start a family with this person.
Yeah, I can hear your baby in the background.
And she's just hanging out,
She said,
playing with all her toys. We have like so many bins of just like toys.
What's your baby's name again?" So that everyone knows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a very beautiful name. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into this, but like, did you and your wife kind of agree on names that like right off the bat? Did you have names in mind? I know that you mentioned like you didn't really know that you wanted a kid up for a while. Like, how does the name work?
We just kind of had a conversation one night. She was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "I like it. Let's throw around some other names." And we kind of just felt like that. The other name that we really were interested in was Aurora. And honestly, I still really like that name, but the next one is a boy. So Aurora is definitely not a boy's. I don't think that's really much of a boy's name.
No, I mean, I guess like nowadays you never really know. It could be you could have different types of names for different types of genders and stuff like that. But I
Yeah,
feel like
more general neutral names. Like what? Oh God, what's a good gender neutral name? Alex. Alex is a good. I feel like I've met
Jordan,
plenty of like girls and guys named Alex.
yeah, Alex, Jordan,
Yeah, Jordan's a good one. I feel like
yeah,
that's really in the middle.
yeah. Um, but you mentioned like finding the right person. What is that like for people who are maybe younger than us, sort of thing, or like maybe a message to your younger self? What would you kind of like looking back? What does finding the right person look like?
Just being open to the possibility that they can be. right? Because I feel like people have like an internal monologue or like a checklist almost of like, oh, they need to be this, that, and the third, and yeah, like they want all these things when really like your inner monologue list a lot of the times is just a reflection of like yourself. And I think if you don't meet your own list, then you shouldn't be putting a list together for someone else to meet if you're already not even meeting them halfway, right? It's like, it's like filling out like a bad job resume. It's like if you don't even meet the requirements, why are you sending this in?
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you have a list for yourself? Like, I want my wife or significant other to be, this, or did you never have a list? Were you a list guy? Are you a list guy?
No, I've always been just open to the different possibilities of love because I mean, finding love in like different avenues of like people is like because people are so interesting, right? Like everyone has like their own little like kind of special qualities that make them like who they are, right? And like you can fall in love with so many different aspects of like a person that I think like my biggest thing is just being open to like the idea that you know to learn about people, to kind of see like what they're about because you can fall in love with all kinds of things, especially about someone.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, no, 100%. You can fall in love with a lot of different things. What do you think separates the um like love and lust? Like I know that there's like lust is more of like a kind of like a sexual chemical. How do you kind of differentiate love versus lust?
Love. Um, I would say that like that butterfly like first reaction feeling is kind of like kind of response like because you don't really know too much about a person, right? So like that first feeling that's lust, right? But when when you're getting up early to go get a bunch of stuff, maybe done or like I don't know, there's just more like meaningful ways that you do something without even thinking that like demonstrates your love for another person than just that kind of like first initial reaction. The first initial reaction is usually lost. I mean, some people say love at first sight, but if you don't know anything about like the person, it's not. Is it really like love at first sight, or is it just like kind of like your reaction to like how they look?
I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think about love at first sight? Do you think it's real? Is it not real? Did you encounter it with your wife?
Yeah, in a way, I definitely saw her and was like, oh, hello. But I think a lot of it is I think a lot of that reaction is mutual. It's like a mutual obsession, right? Like that's it. Kind of like how I would phrase it. Like when love at first sight, I think is a lot of just not even common interest, but like a willingness to be involved, kind of like in the like in each other at an equal level, and that's kind of where like I feel like you get the love at first sight because you're both willing to be like super involved because like you find each other like attractive, which then can blossom into something more and deeper later.
So what's the difference between love at first sight and lust?
Nothing.
Hmm, that's interesting.
Maybe love at first sight is probably just two people that are a little bit more like open-minded to the idea that this could be something. Lust is kind of I feel like when you just don't have that, but like you're still willing to interact with the other person on a intimate basis.
Hmm. Wow. Just wanted to sit with that for a second. That's kind of interesting.
Right? I mean, because I think it makes sense, right? Because like love at first sight, the difference between lust is just like the willingness to be open that this could be something. But like if one of the parties isn't, open, then it kind of like just defaults to lust. Because like you're still gonna have like these like romantic moments where you're going on dates or you're being intimate, right? And like that's cool, but like if it's not met with equal force, it's not really love at first sight then, because like it's not equal. Love at first sight turns into a deeper bond with someone when it is met with equal, um, like intensity. If it's not met with equal intensity, you can pretty much just write it off as lust. But when it's met with equal intensity, then like you both can kind of like believe in like the little like kind of like a I guess like fantasy that like maybe it's something more, which it eventually can be, but it needs to be equal force.
Mm. If you could simplify love down to like one word, what would that one word be for you?
Subservience.
Mm.
I think if you're not willing to serve like your partner on an intimate basis and like go above and beyond and really like kind of treat them better than you would treat yourself and get that in return, then yeah, I don't know.
No, that's a really good word. I didn't initially know what subservience meant, but when you said to serve, it really kind of clicked because that's really what,
This
any
is
sort
just
of,
just to not be self-serving. When you're entering a relationship, you're accepting that it's more than just about you and how you feel, right? Especially when you're entering something like marriage. It's like, that's really when that kicks in. Like if you're a really self-centered person, just don't get married. Because like if you're never going to be able to like serve like your partner and like care for them like that, then like you don't have any business being married, in my opinion, at least. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of patience and love to be married. Like you're committing like the rest of your life to another person, right? So there needs to be times where like you have to accept that you're gonna, you got to eat dirt.
yeah, yeah.
And that's okay because that's what you're supposed to do. If you truly love this person like so much, you should be able to serve be serving to them.
It's sacrificial.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's something that I think you take a lot of learning. I don't know that you can, I mean, you can tell people that and share like, I mean, at least in my experience, I think like, maybe my father or stuff like that have like has said, love is effort or love takes effort sort of thing. And it's, a lot of the effort is like serving the other person. But I don't
Yeah.
know, like, I mean, it's one of those lessons that it's hard to learn by just someone telling you, oh, this is how you love. Because
But yeah, I mean, love looks different for all people. But I think that like the baseline, right? Like the very like common baseline is being able to, you know, not focus on yourself as, like more like way more than your partner. I mean, there's times where like, yeah, you should probably focus on yourself a bit, but like, you know, if that's like how you feel all the time, then maybe you're not in a relationship for the right reasons.
100%, yeah. Are you familiar with the five love languages?
No. Remind me.
So I may need to remind myself and look it up real quick, just so that I make sure I get it right for you and the audience. So
Yep.
I'm gonna look it up real quick and just sort of portray them to everybody. All right. So first love language is words of affirmation. So examples of words of affirmation obviously are just being encouraging sort of thing. Like basically, before I say all the different love languages, everybody has their own. I mean, everybody has all different the kind of combination of love languages, but there tends to be a dominant one for most people. So that's where I just mentioned words of affirmation. That's the first one. I'm gonna, kind of go through the list. But again, we all kind of have all these languages or elements of love, but one tends to be, one or two tend to be more dominant for yourself. So we'll go through them, and then I'm curious what yours is, and maybe you could identify it for your girlfriend. So, as I mentioned, first one, words of affirmation. Next one is quality time. Third one is acts of service. Fourth one is receiving gifts. And fifth one is physical touch. So again, we all have all like a intertwined like puzzle sort of thing that of all of these um, languages of love. But I'm curious, Nick, what I'm gonna say them again. I'm curious which one you feel like you identify most with, and then your opinion on the five love languages. So I'll say them again for you, Nick. Words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, and physical touch.
Hmm. I feel like I don't fall into that box. I don't know. Because like one of the most like I guess maybe time spent, right? Because I think I value conversation with my wife probably more than anything. Like I love being able to sit and talk about nothing, but being able to talk about nothing for hours, right? I feel like that's just one of those things. I like to hear your voice. I like to just explore kind of like what you're thinking, whether it's goofy, serious, or in the middle. And for me, that's just like I think that's the most important thing. Like I want to be able to just have conversation with you.
I've
So maybe
always,
time spent.
yeah, I was gonna say quality time. I think that's what mine is as well. I mean, I think, and this kind of can seep into friendships and family and stuff like that too. So that's why I say that. Like, I think a lot of my time with people and like trust building tends to be the quality time. So that makes sense. If you and me kind of grew up together, we're pretty similar. So what do you think your wife's is?
Same thing. She she likes when I make her favorite thing is just me, making her laugh, just being goofy.
Yeah.
So she's definitely in the same wheelhouse. Like we like to make each other laugh, and we do. Oh my god, I just at least every day we'll say something. We'll crack some kind of joke where we're like belly laughing almost on the floor. It's I don't know. Our relationship's kind of like it's just funny. We really try to keep it like upbeat, because like I don't know, life can be such a downer like most of the time. You always have like just general stress. I mean, you'll always have general stresses in life, but I think like just being with someone that's able to be like upbeat and try to crack a joke and still try to make your day better, doing like little things is it's just nice being with someone like that, right? That tries to really look on the bright side or do little things for you. Like maybe if I forgot to throw a pair of my scrubs or something in the wash and maybe she already had them out on the chair and was like, hey, saw you forgot it, have a good day. It's just like it's the thoughtfulness and just willingness to really like participate in the little things in a relationship, which I think people, I don't know, I feel like it gets forgotten a lot.
Yeah, the little things are the most important, right? I mean, it's not all like the big things like the big days and stuff like that. It really comes down to all those little things, the little acts of service, as we were kind of touching on earlier, kind of, in my opinion, can outweigh the like the larger acts of service, whether it's a gift or whether it's a special day sort of thing. So yeah, the little that makes sense. I think joy, as you mentioned, laughing, joy is a foundation or fundamental need that a lot of humans like strive for, and laughing, like laughter in general, is a source of joy. So that makes sense. The quality time. That's actually pretty awesome that you and your wife are the same one, or at least is what it kind of seems. Because I think if you're not the same one, and again, everybody has like all of them, but if you're not the same one, it may make the relationship harder because you have to understand and communicate your needs if your needs are different. So if your languages are, supposedly if your love language is different,
Oh, you
communicate.
can super bump heads, right? Because if you don't like the other person's love language, then it can could definitely be a pain.
Yeah, yeah. What do you
I've
think?
definitely, huh?
Sorry,
Sorry.
what do you think people misunderstand about love, Nick?
Um, I think that it's supposed to always be like this, happy, like happy-go-lucky like period of time. And I mean, like you're gonna have like your stretches where it feels like that. But I think people underestimate like when it gets rough, man. Like dude, sometimes it's rough. Yeah, being married or being just in a relationship for a long time. Like, dude, there are some rough times, and that's okay. It's like like it's okay to, struggle a little bit, you know? And some people just want to give up when things get hard. And I find that a lot of people just do that, I think, more often than not. It's just kind of just, well, it's also probably, I mean, you probably look at, divorce rates and, kind of like deduce that a little bit. But yeah, just, being a real like ride or die kind of thing.
Yeah, love isn't perfect. You're gonna fight. We're all human.
Yeah. And some people just can't hack it. They're just like, oh, one bad fight, it's over. It's like, well, maybe like, should we investigate why it started? Where the breakdown in communication was? Because like all arguments are just, it's a breakdown in communication, right? Like something went wrong in the way you communicated or did something, and you should probably try to fix it instead of throw it out, unless it's something like super severe, you know?
Yeah. So we talked a lot about finding love. How do you know from your experience, how do you know when to step away from a relationship, Nick?
I think hmm, when you feel the need to constantly confess to your friends for validation that you're in a bad relationship, I think that's a pretty good sign. I think if you have a friend that calls you a little bit too like, if your friend like if you have a friend and they only call you like about the bad things in their relationship, they just don't like that's probably it right there. I feel like that's like the most like beginner and like obvious sign that like you should probably just walk away. Right? Because like sometimes, if me and my wife aren't getting along, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's normal. But like if it's all I talk about, that's a problem. Like if all you can do is hyper fixate on the negative and that's all you communicate with your friends, you're setting up your relationship for failure in the future. And I feel like people do that so often. Like so much. I see that like so many times. So I think if you catch yourself doing that, you should probably reevaluate like your standing in the relationship and if you should really be there. Because if all you can do and like you're comfortable with like speaking negatively about your partner, you need to go work on yourself. Because like if that's all you're capable of doing, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, you got deeper trauma or problems to solve.
Yeah, because like I don't know if you're not with someone that's like psychologically or physically or emotional like abusive and they're just doing little things that like upset you and like all you do is talk to your friends about it and you don't communicate that to your partner, you're like the worst kind of human being.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at least. I'm like it's just fake, and unfortunately a lot of people like operate that way in relationships. And I would even tell one of my friends like if like let's say you right you all you did was call me and it was just little things, I'd be like, brother, I think you need to reevaluate your relationship, my friend. It's like, oh, she, didn't do something she said she was going to do. And it's something like so minuscule, like, I don't know, maybe you like your shoes put on the left side of the door and she put them on the right, or, she moved something so just like small, you know? If all you do is hyper fixate on like those super little things, I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't think you should probably be in that relationship then,
I think
because
you
some
said
people
that.
just don't want to be happy. That's another thing too. I feel like that's huge. Some people genuinely just don't want to be happy. Some people are in denial that they are miserable people, and like, and they don't accept it. They just constantly think everything else is the problem.
Yeah, happiness is a choice.
Um, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't say that one. I don't know if happiness is choice, but I think being content with your surroundings is right. Because like happiness is like the peak, right? So it's like the peak is like a peak feeling. But like being content with your surroundings and being at peace with yourself, I think is like the better thing to strive for. Because you
Maybe
carry that every day. You don't carry happiness every day.
maybe positivity is a choice. Maybe that's what I was implying.
Sure, positive. Yeah, positive outlook. Yeah, I think so.
I think that's a better way to say it. Well, One final question for you, and then we're gonna wrap up because we only have a few minutes left. But um, what's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self related to love?
Don't be so angry.
Mm.
That'd probably be it. I think I was just angry at myself a lot when I was younger, and I think I just didn't know how to like communicate that like effectively. That it's not the other person that's like making me miserable. It's myself because I didn't didn't know how to work on myself yet.
What tools helped you overcome this anger?
Anger, time, honestly, as I got older and just kind of realized that
Mm.
the people that have hurt me in my past aren't the people that are in front of me today, and they don't want to hurt me.
Yeah. No, your environment's a massive influence in terms of like growth, and, related to love. If you're surrounded by,
Negative, hateful people, you'll start to become your surroundings.
yeah. Okay, I said last question, but this question just came in my head, and I feel like it would be worthwhile. What is the opposite of love, Nick?
I would say emptiness, being absent.
Mm.
Because I think if love is the fulfillment, then I guess the opposite of being full is empty.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I know that you and me have talked about the opposite
I
of
think
love.
that's what I said before, right? Pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I think it was something along those lines.
yeah. I forget the exact word that you used, but I do remember saying to you, have you ever heard, or I asked you this question, have you ever heard of the idea that the opposite of love is fear? And you
Oh
said,
yeah. And then we disagreed about I think fear. Yeah, because I don't think it's fear. Fear, I feel like is um because love like because being like when you're full of love or just when you have love for something, it's just being like 100% like kind of like into something. And I think like being away from it would be just kind of like like a void, almost like absentness.
mm,
Is that yeah, I think I'm happy with that answer. Yeah, I think emptiness.
I like that. Well, look, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up soon. So I want to, number one, I want to make sure people can know where to find you if they want to find you. Do you want to share like your, social media or anything like that, so people could, follow you on Instagram if they or reach out to you if they're interested? Is there a social media you want to share? Or
Um, I guess you always follow my Twitter. I think it's just Vivans FPS. As people can probably imagine, I do like to play games, as you can kind of see in the background footage.
yeah,
Good pastime. Good pastime.
yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well,
Everyone needs a hobby.
yeah, I'll put your social media in the caption so that people can reach out, find you if they want. Um, and yeah, to I guess like reiterate while we're watching, someone shoot a bunch of red blocks right now.
Yeah,
You you guys a little bit of a distraction as to because we can't see Nick on here virtually. I give you
I'm
guys a
gonna
little,
find my camera.
yeah. Next time Nick and I will be on next time Nick and I are on the podcast, we'll make sure that Nick we can see Nick. So well,
Sure. Of
anyway, thank you, Nick. Really appreciate you being here, brother.
course. Always love talking.
Definitely want to have you back on. I think we touched on love more than you being a father, so maybe next time we can kind of chat more
What's it
about
like being a dad? It's a
yeah,
good time.
what's it like being a dad.
It's
But
so much fun.
from what last thing I'll say, you told me that being a dad is the best decision you've ever made. Is that true?
Absolutely. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Awesome, brother. Well, thank you again for being here, brother.
Of
We're gonna
course.
make stuff shortly. So thank you again, everybody, for listening. If you're still here, I'll put Nick's social media below and we'll talk soon. All right. Take care.